Welcome to OneLeg Up, where we discuss how you can deliver the very best customer experience and how you can achieve zero marketing waste. I'm Ed Davis, the Chief Operations Ninja here at OneLeg, and today I have a very special guest with me. He's an actor, a comedian, a Boy Scout, a father, a husband, and an all-around awesome dude. Jeff Gadigan, how's it going, bud?
It's going good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's all you got to say. It's just going good. You're in Southern California. You're living the life outside of Hollywood.
It's good. I mean, things are great. I mean, it's come a long way.
Just working.
That's pretty much what we've been doing.
That's what everybody's doing. I gotcha.
Yeah.
So while Jeff is, in fact, all of the things that I said when I introduced him just a second ago, we didn't bring him on here to talk about any of those things, actually. Although we might get into him being an actor and a father and Boy Scout. Jeff actually is the co-founder of a fantastic video production company that we count on as a collaborative partner here at OneLeg. And that company is called AminoCat Entertainment. And today we're going to talk about how to infuse storytelling into your marketing, specifically with video assets. And it's a really interesting story for us or a really interesting topic for us to talk about. We are constantly running into or having discussions with clients whose assets are, whether they're photography, videography, whatever the case may be, those assets typically look like all of their competitors, right? And I think some of the conversations that you and I have had and some of the work that you've actually done for us with a couple of our clients and for OneLeg, we strive to make those things look different. We strive to not present just the product features or the service or the services. We're actually trying to tell a story within that short amount of space that we might have, whether it's a minute or 30 seconds or whatever the case may be. And so you're a wonderful resource for helping us understand that.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I don't know.
We're live, folks. No, we're not really live, but So let's start with a little bit of the background, Jeff. How did you get to Hollywood? What was the path that you took?
The path I took. Okay. Well, like I've always been interested in entertainment, things like that. Most people, like you, probably didn't know that about me since we've known each other for years.
We have known each other
decades. For years. I took the roundabout way. It took me about. I wasn't until I was like probably in my mid-20s when I decided to actually start pursuing it and going to go Hollywood. I had to try to go like the conventional route. I don't think you even know about this. Like I was going to college for a bunch of different stuff. I was thinking about being a doctor. I was doing a lot of different things. And It just didn't end up panning out. And eventually I just got fed up and I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do what I want. And that's kind of how I ended up here. My roots, like I'm from California, like my family's from here. So I was always here in the summers, back and forth. So I had exposure, but not really a lot. Growing up in Tucson, Arizona, there wasn't a lot of exposure to like Hollywood. So we didn't really know how to get started, which is probably why I didn't actively pursue it. Sorry. Which is why I didn't actively pursue it. So I ended up just coming here and just figuring it out on my own, like I do most stuff. I'm pretty much self-taught everything. I actually went backwards. After I came here to be an actor for a while, I decided, because it's a tough business. Like it's all rejection. Like you don't get into acting, you don't get into entertainment for the money. Some people do it for the fame.
Or the validation, right?
Or the validation.
You and I were
or the fame because you burn out. And especially, it's just on top of just constantly, it's basically like finding a job, looking for a job every day of your life and going to like sometimes if you're doing auditions, 1 or 2 auditions or more a day, getting rejected after a while, never hearing back. You never get a rejection call, anything like that. So it's tough. You really got to enjoy it. That's just not in the acting end. Like I know a lot of, because AminoCat, like the reason why it came to be initially was because we wanted to uh, address that catch 22 in this industry, where we wanted to address that catch 22 industry where you have to have work to get work, things like that.
Right.
We had a lot of people like, I mean, my wife's an actress too, but I wanted to, you know, get work, but then there's like, you don't have a reel, things like that, all these things. Like there's no set way. There's no way anybody can actually systemize a way to break into Hollywood or to even become crew or things like that. There is, but you have to find out. Like you always have to have some sort of in. And around the time I got involved in this industry, there was like technology started changing. Like it became more affordable to create your own content, things like that.
Sure.
I didn't know anything about how to operate. Well, actually, I did. Like I did a lot of photography in high school, and I was always into that type of thing. But film wise, all those things, I had to sit around and figure out how to do that because I needed to create my own luck, so to speak. Obviously, since I'm not a household name, nobody knows who I am or has seen me. That's not the point of what we're trying to do. Like, you really have to enjoy this industry that we're in. And rather than, then there's nothing wrong with having a survivor job, things like that. But for my wife and I, we enjoyed and loved this industry so much. We wanted to create a platform to where we can make a living, survive, and still stay related to our industry.
So this is where AminoCat came about.
It is. It's where AminoCat came about. Initially, we just wanted to make shorts. It was just like, okay, I'm just going to get my friends together. I know some people who want to be a director, some people who were trying to figure out how to do this. So we decided, okay, we'll figure out a way to give an opportunity to those people and we'll all work together because I think just like because we've been working together, it's highly collaborative. Like there's no one way. There is a way, like some people will find a way to do everything themselves, but that's like, you burn out really fast. I've done that before. And I had to learn to build these relationships because you kind of have to. While you're building these relationships, you have to kind of do things on your own and eventually evolve. So I think I don't know how we ended up where we are, honestly. It's just maintaining relationships and wanting to do good work and learning. Acting wise, like to get experience on the set, they'll say do background work, do these things. Yeah, I mean, I've done a little bit of background work, but I always found I found it more satisfying to me to like just get on board as a PA, just kind of see how everything works.
Yeah.
And it created more, other than the learning, it just creating opportunities for other people who needed a leg up or one leg up. I did not plan that.
Thank you for that. Thank you for the shameless promotion right in the middle of your.
That was natural. That was completely organic.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
It was just a chance to give everybody just a chance. And because we did that, and it has nothing to do with us, it's just trying to help people. Some of the people I've worked with have gone on to bigger, better things. And it got to the point where, okay, well, we're still kind of the little guy. I'm not comfortable asking this guy for a favor. And although I know that I could if I wanted to. But There came a time, like a breaking point for us, for lack of a better word, where I did not feel right saying, oh, can you just do me this favor and work for free? Things like that. Like, I feel like there was a certain point in our career where we had to actually go out and actively pursue a way to pay these people for the projects we wanted to do. And about 2 years ago was when my wife and I started, I started wanting to have a production company years before I met my wife. AminoCat didn't come around till I met my wife. I had a bunch of production companies before then that never really got off the ground because they were just, trying to go after that big dream of making these short movies, eventually moving into features, which is a huge gamble. Like, it's hard to get that business. Right. It's hard to put food in your mouth doing with that kind of thing. And that's still on the back burner. That's still something that we want to do. We're still actors, but we decided, like, going into the ad space, going into the commercial arena would be a more long-term stable goal if we build it.
Well, I think that's where I was gonna
Yeah.
head, right? Which is it's admirable, um, sort of the construct and the culture that you all have been developing at AminoCat in terms of, whether you're in the background of a shot, whether you're a primary actor, whether you're a director, a producer, whatever the case may be. You all are trying to give those opportunities when you didn't necessarily get those opportunities, but understanding that, as you just said, it is a huge gamble to try and say, well, we're trying to do this feature film, and hopefully a bigger studio pick this up or whatnot. You all made a conscious decision, a business pivot into something that is more sustainable, that it keeps the lights on. It still allows you to look at those opportunities as and when they come along. But I think the bit that we really want to talk about is the part of AminoCat that's helping small businesses, entrepreneurs, and things along those lines get their business up and running, because you all are, I believe, really skilled and really adept at taking a basic product that even though an entrepreneur may say, well, this baby product or whatever might be the case, this is what it means to me, these are the features of it, this is why it should be in the market. You all have an amazing instinct, I would say, to take that and actually wrap a story around it, so that because a lot of the things we talk here at OneLeg is you've got to capture people's emotions, right? You've got to talk to their emotions, and then you can come in with the rational component of, hey, here's why this thing is safer, here's why it's going to save you money, here's why it's going to make good on the brand promise that it might have. So 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 how did that come about? What is the process? How do you all think about those things when somebody comes to you and says, I have this product, I have this service, I need video or photography assets? What goes through your mind as the producer, as the
Well,
production
as
company?
a producer of this company, and um, when we talk to a business, like, I mean, first of all, like, we're coming from that theatrical, that short creative feature film background. Stories, everything, and that's
Right.
how we approach it. Like, we don't. eh, I mean, creating empathy, you're trying to figure out what the story is for clients. We find that that's a lot more effective than all the technical jargon that some clients initially want to just get across on the film. And it comes to the
Right.
point where it's just like, people loosely put, like, if they have to find out that you care to an extent before they figure out all these details, because a lot of times they're not going to understand those details. They just want to know the bottom line, like, will it make my life better, like, and how. And so
Right.
um, when a client approaches us, it could be as easy as they make it or as hard as they make it, because um, and that's fine, because that's not their space. That's why they're coming to us, is try to figure that out. But coming from creatives, like, we can go all the way, like, thousands of millions of miles away from the traditional way out of the box, or we can stay in the box. Like, it just depends on what they want. We can give them what they're looking for, but they would just have to tell us. And a lot of times our stuff is very rooted in story first. Like, advertising anything, we just need to know what the story is first, and be able to craft whatever the piece is, the ultimate project is, into the story that they want to tell. And at the same time, from a viewer standpoint or for a consumer standpoint, for them to be able to create their own opinion and relate to that story themselves, whether it's completely on the mark for what we're going for or not. As long as we start to stir up those emotions, and we're allowed to find something that's relatable in general, just general relations. And I'm not talking about
Right.
anything really
Right.
obscure, but something that's able to create some sort of empathy or some sort of understanding that I need X product in my life because of this. And it doesn't even have to be like anything, it doesn't have to be related to anything. Like, as far as, like, I don't know, like, a mouse pad or a mouse or like a hairbrush, things like that. Like those little things, you can find a story out of that to make people believe that
Sure.
this is important. You know,
This is more than just
yeah.
a mouse
I mean,
or a
a
hairbrush.
hairbrush is what? Like, you can tell a story of self care. You can tell the story of some people don't. Yeah, some
It's a
people don't
microphone.
have that, and you find a way to tap into that and to say,
Yeah.
okay, this is what it is. So it's we're basically just trying to, which at the sound is just kind of show people we're telling stories. That's basically what we're doing. It's the same thing as a film. It's the same thing as a TV show, anything like that. It's just more on point. It's got a very specific purpose, but it's people want to be entertained. Yeah.
Sure. Even with their 30-second promo film that they might have on their
Yeah, I mean,
crowdfunding
I've seen a lot
website.
of great crowdfunding videos. I've seen a lot of just really questionable crowdfunding videos, and a lot of them that I lose interest. Like, it could be a project I'm not even interested in, but I'll watch it if the story's good or if the concept is good. I'll watch it just because it's entertaining.
Right.
And you know what? Whether I need it or not, it sticks in my head. Like, I know about it.
And so what are those things that people get wrong when they are developing? Is it purely they just put the product in the shot and then they literally bullet point out the features? Like, in your mind, is that what the core issue is? Because they haven't actually thought about, as you were just saying, this is how it actually emotionally impacts your life. So as you know, when we do like a branding project, or we're evaluating somebody's service and we're trying to figure out how we're going to talk about it from a one leg standpoint, the first thing that we ask is, what is the offer, right? Because that we're trying to figure out what the features are, what of the service or the product. We eventually get around to what are the direct benefits, and how do we want our clients to feel when working with this product or service. But you all do the exact opposite. I think you all lead with, okay, what is the emotional driver we want somebody to have when they see this video and they see your
Yeah, it's
product
kind
and
of like,
service, right?
yeah, it's more
That's
like
where
we
it comes
start
from.
with the hook of the song rather than the rest of the lyrics.
Yeah, okay.
Um, because I mean, going back, like if you think about school or high school, some people love history, some people love science, and they love the technical aspect of it. But if you're not, you have to find some way to get your, because everyone's got to go through their general ed. Um, so they've got to find a way to make it interesting. I mean, maybe that's not the best example, but they find ways to get around it. Like, history is basically just telling the story. Like, and within that, like, if there's politics
Sure.
involved, I'm not a very, politics bore me. And if I can find the story in it and things like that, it sticks. But to answer your question, I think the one thing that they get wrong, and again, this is just opinion, but I do find, speaking from a consumer standpoint, because we're all consumers, is if you throw a bunch of just very technical language at me or show me diagrams and all these things, though important, I'm not going to memorize that. It's just like I'm studying for a test about
Right.
subject matter that I don't really have any connection with. But everybody can connect with a story. That's why people watch movies, watch television, even sports to an extent, like things like that. Like they're involved. They're creating a narrative, whether it's random or not. Um, it's just everything's a
Right.
story. It's just life is very basically an improvised story, and that's what kind of makes things interesting.
That's an that's an awesome way to look at it. Life is an improvised story. At some point, we're gonna have to. I think
Yeah.
maybe that's gonna
Well,
become
I
a
mean,
blog post for you all, just in terms of being relatable to what an entrepreneur or company might go through
yeah.
in developing
Well, I
their
mean, to
assets.
touch on it is like I'm a writer too. When I employ a lot of writers, one of my partners is a writer. We a lot of times we draw from our own stuff and we put it on paper. So we're scripting out
Right.
experiences that were just made up, you know. And that's I think that's where people can, because the thing is everyone's experiences are more, they're all different, but sometimes the root is similar. so they can figure out how
Yeah.
to react. They can figure out how they would react on their own, and that's the more you can get conversation going, the more you, even if it's just an internal dialogue with people watching an ad piece, as long as they remember. I mean, the sales are great. Buy my service, that's great. But if you're looking for something long term that sits with you for a long time, I think you're always going to remember, because there's some ads that I don't care about the product, but I remember the advertising. I remember, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Where's the beef
yeah. From
sort
where's
of thing
all
from when
those
we were kids.
things.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a story of like some old lady, looking for beef. But
Yeah.
anything, like even more recent stuff, things like that, everything is moving over to a more narrative space. And I think, and right now, like the challenge is like we're talking about, sometimes it's just a 30-second spot. Like attention spans now are so much shorter. So that doesn't, that I think one of the mistakes is they think, oh, we only have 30 seconds, so we have to give them every technical aspect of this product in 30 seconds. We don't have time to develop a story, create a narrative around it. That's the challenge. You have to you have to create a narrative in
Right.
30 seconds or less, and to get people hooked onto that, to at least maybe, if they want to, interest enough to get into a bigger piece, if you have that, or to just do more research on the product. Because I think all the technical stuff, there's a place for that. Like once you get them in it, they're going to want to research it. They're going to figure out how things work if they want that, or they're going to want to go try it out. And if you get them to try it out, that's when they kind of feel like, okay, this is for me, or this isn't for me, but this is for me and it's really good, or it's not for me, but it's for so and so, or this or that. It's just creating a dialogue,
Yeah.
however you want to.
I I just think it's so much more interesting, and just for the listeners out there, obviously we're a little bit biased with AminoCat because we've produced some really good. We've worked on a couple projects. We've produced some really good stuff, and AminoCat continue to help us at OneLeg with a couple other opportunities that we're developing. But I think about this one that we're currently working on. Right, it would be easy enough to just show this product and get a little bit of B-roll with a little bit of movement and so on and so forth. And I think that, but the more interesting bit is injecting the human piece of it. We've got a dog and interaction and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't cost. I mean, yes, it costs a little bit more, but it's not any more effort, right? You're going to be in a bathroom shooting a shower anyways. Why not let the dog run crazy for a minute, and get that B-roll, because that is going to be interesting. I think the other thing that we think about when we talk to clients about what the visuals are, it's really interesting to me that a client will come to you and say, well, we've got this fantastic product, we believe it is the end all be all, whatever the case may be, and it's different. We know we believe it's different from everybody else, and now it might not be, and usually it's not. And then they fall into this trap of, yes, everybody else shoots their products like this, go do that. And you're just, why would you do that? Why would you, honestly, if you believe your product is different, why would you go and make it look like everybody else's product from an advertising standpoint, right? Because then it's just sort of like roulette, right? Like the consumer's seeing essentially the same ad from multiple different vendors, and it's up to them to pick, oh, well, today I just happened to land on this one, or Facebook presented this ad to me. That must be it. It's the visual that they're going for, not necessarily the company. And so if you believe that, then why not do something, as you and I are talking about, why not do something different, right? So instead of just showing a stark shower and saying, here's our bathroom remodel company, please pick us for your next remodel job. Let's show them that the bathroom can be way more than just some place where you wash up or use the bathroom. It can be a place where you hang out. It can be a place where you have fun. It can be a place of respite. It can be a place where you can transform and go to a whole different place mentally. That, to me, and I think to you, is probably a lot more interesting. And
Well,
those are the things
it
that
is,
actually
because how
stick
do
with
you?
us.
I mean, people live life, and unless you're even like super wealthy people, if I know any, their life gets stale. Things get stale. It doesn't matter walk of
Sure.
life you are, it gets stale. Um, going to address the part you said about people just trying to do what everybody else is doing, it's safe. And I think they're thinking behind that, and it's an old way of thinking, is that, well, they did this and they've already forged the path and it worked for them, so I'm going to do that too. But it's the same thing. Eventually bread
Right.
gets stale. Like it's just going to be the same thing. So what, when you do that, what differentiates you from the other guy? You did the exact same thing. And you guys, these products, I'm not going to lump it all in and say, okay, your products are the same. But going back to, well, the hairbrush example, how many ways can you modify a hairbrush? Not many. But the way that you tell the story
Sure.
makes
Yeah.
it different. Like there's a lot of companies now who are actually producing their own content that's just so out of the box different. And I think actually just OneLeg, like the stuff that you guys tell me about your concepts, everything, it really it strengthens my creativity muscle, because you guys, your approach to everything is stuff that I've never really thought of. Like they're so out of the box that I have to wrap my head around it, because there's nothing like that. And but people will look
Well,
at that as
I
reinventing the
appreciate that.
wheel. But the thing is, it's fresh, it's new, and it actually gives somebody something rather than zoning out while they're watching. It's kind of that whole thing like that. I don't think there's as many commercials now as when we were growing up, but some people just now you can fast forward through them, everything. But now there's some ads that I just don't want to. Like I wait for those ads to show up just so I could watch it, or if they're done really super well, just so I can unpack it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, 100%. Yep. And I think the goal is, and you mentioned, and I appreciate
Yeah.
the compliment about us being fresh and really trying to push the limits of and forcing clients to really think about what it is that they're doing and what they're projecting. You know, it doesn't have to be just the Super Bowl when a
Yeah.
memorable commercial or spot comes out, right? I think every company, every organization has the ability to capture that little bit of magic and infuse the emotion and the empathy to get people to align with what
Yeah.
it is that they're trying to do or what it is that they're trying to sell. I just think it's incumbent upon them to allow the creative people, our creative team and whatnot, to do their job and not get in the way, in all honesty. So, provide the guardrails or whatever you might want to do from a
Yeah.
brand standpoint, but
And
let us go do the work. Yeah.
that's, I mean, going back to the thing that we're working on now is these mundane rooms in a house, or these mundane places that people want to shoot in or film in to create their advertising. They're mundane locations, but you know what it is that they create stories in those locations.
Yeah.
That's what that's what we try to do, is make
Yep.
this area memorable and build the show them the family structure or life, show them the lifestyle, show them the emotion, tap into all those things in that
Yep.
room or what have you, to make it memorable and make it stick. Because at the end, you can't force anybody to buy your product. They have to initially. It doesn't matter. They always have to make that conscious decision to either purchase services, sign the contract. All that is out of your hands. You just have to provide them with the reasons why. And though technical stuff, again, because I really think that's a big thing. Like when I talk to a client and they start throwing technical stuff at me, I have a hard time trying to figure out how to um, put that in. Like I'm not, I'm kind of like in the cusp of like being creative and having a real logical mind, which is why my wife is super creative. My other partner, Jim, he's more of a writer. Like I have to, I kind of, I talk myself into corners sometimes trying to figure out how it is, but having their feedback, looking for a thing, they're able to take a bullet list of mundane stuff and say, okay, well, we work together to say, then this is the story. This is what it is. Like this is a product. We need to tell the story
Right.
of this, because this is what everybody relates to, and they're going to be able to create a narrative in their own mind about why they need this or why they don't need it or why it would help, or certain features they'll pick and choose, and eventually they're going to go along with whatever's best. But we do the best to make it the story so strong. Like if people have a favorite movie or anything like that, there's a reason why. There's a reason why. So that's it's not that complicated. It's a craft. It's hard to do, but it's if you will just understand. Like a lot of people kind of, I think, lose sight of being the consumer when they're talking about their own product. Sometimes I think like they're so in it, they're thinking about whatever the investment they made, or that they're just going to do this or they're going to make money. Like going back to our roots as acting, I was like, the reason why we're still in the industry, we're still moving along, and we're still doing this, and we're able to do this, is because we love what we do. It's because we enjoy what we're doing, and we don't see ourselves. I couldn't see myself personally doing anything else. I could do it. I could force myself, but the quality of life would not be the same. And I think taking that idea and trying to show how these products or these services improve the quality of life, and because it's all quality of life. If it's your business, you're trying to raise your business, it does well, you have a better quality of life. You know, that's just kind of, it's real simple. Like it's simple. It's just not easy to do. It's yeah.
We get in our own way sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. I think that's a perfect place to stop. All that is really great. If the point was missed by the listeners, obviously Jeff, AminoCat, myself, OneLeg, we do care about the story. We do care about positioning our clients differently, because we think that that's what's going to have a bigger impact on their business, on their sales, on whatever it is that they're trying to do from a marketing standpoint. So, right, Jeff, we really appreciate you coming on. That's it for us today. We hope you've enjoyed our chat and learned a couple things. As always, we here at OneLeg believe poor marketing pollutes the planet, and the business is full of tired, outdated, indistinct, unremarkable, and underperforming marketing that sucks. But what sucks even more is that many companies have forgotten the most important thing of all, the customer. And we're on a mission on behalf of our clients' customers to change that. To learn more, go to zeromarketingwaste.com, where you can subscribe to our blog and this very podcast. You can also find us and follow us by looking for the Flamingo and the OneLeg handle wherever you socialize online. Thank you. Talk to you next time.